another edition of Easy Talk, real talk for true entrepreneurs. Today, you are in for a special treat. You're talking about being an entrepreneur, being a full-time employee, and having a relationship. How do you do it all? Today, we're going to be talking to Kiamesha Wilson, who is the founder and owner of Kaye's Paints and Scoops. Kiamesha Wilson is a native Memphian. She is a graduate of Tennessee State University, where she received a Bachelor of Business Administration with a concentration in marketing. And she attended the University of Memphis, where she received a Master of Business Administration with a focus in marketing. She most recently completed her certification with Women's Entrepreneurship from Cornell University. She has worked in fundraising for the past 12 years at the top nonprofit in the United States, and most recently founded Kaye's Paints and Scoops, which is a micro creamery in Memphis. She handcrafts small batch ice cream using the best ingredients produced locally. She's passionate about giving back to her community. She's a past president of the National Black MBA Association Memphis chapter and has served as a board member for more than 10 years. She was the Diversity and Inclusion Chair on the board of the Memphis chapter of Associated Fundraising Professionals. She mentors high school and collegiate students throughout the years as well as serving on several planning committees for nonprofits across Memphis. Kiamesha stays busy, you guys. She loves her community. She's a New Memphis Institute Fellow and was recognized as one of Memphis Business Journal's 2017 Top 40 Under 40 class in Memphis and the Urban Elite 2019 40 Under 40. She most recently won the Society of Entrepreneurs 2022 Mustang Award and the Women's Business Center South Pitch Competition. She is an ice cream enthusiast and enjoys playing tennis, discovering new restaurants, and traveling. Welcome to our podcast show, Easy Talk, Kiamesha Wilson.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. You are a busy body.
I was like, oh, that's starting to sound exhausted.
But you make it work. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show, so that you can talk about how you do it all.
Prayer. No.
Prayer.
A lot of prayer.
A lot of prayer.
And I'm learning discipline. I never thought of myself as a disciplined person until recently. And I'm like, okay, I might have some good discipline traits these days. But I try to practice a lot of discipline, structure, and a lot of prayer, I promise.
I agree. When I feel like I'm getting a little off kilter, I was like, okay, it's time to do a fast, because it helps bring that discipline back, and it kind of resets your mind.
So I fast every Monday.
Oh, okay.
I've been doing it now for the last 3 years. So Mondays used to be my least favorite day of the week. It used to be my most unproductive day of the week. It was always a struggle. And I don't know if I was listening to a sermon or I was reading something and they talked about how to use fasting to like create a space of peace or a better space. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it for a week or 2 weeks on Monday, or for a month. This was a month. It was July. For a month. And then I found now that it's just routine, and Mondays are my most productive days, my most peaceful days. Like Mondays are like my days. I look forward to Fridays, but I know if I get a good Monday, it's going to reset me for the week.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like that with my meal prep. I meal prep on Sundays. When I can get my meal prep done, get everything packed and ready, I'm looking at my schedule. I know where I got to go, what I got to do, and I'm like, this is what I'm eating, this is what I'm wearing, and the week kind of just flows. There's a lot to say about intentionality.
Yes.
You have to be intentional about how you live. And each day that you get to wake up to see a new day, you got to be intentional about how that day is going to be successful. I mean, I don't see any other way you can be as successful as you are without being rooted into something that helps you kind of gear and start your week. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So Kaye's Paints and Scoops. How did you get started?
So it came from a joke with my sister. So I, years ago, like 5, probably 6 years ago, she asked me what I wanted for Christmas. And I was like an ice cream maker. So I have always been an ice cream lover. I am the one that's going to find the ice cream shop no matter where it is. So we out of town. I'm like, oh, it's an ice cream shop up the street. Let's go. So she was like, what you want? I was like, I want an ice cream maker. So she bought me an ice cream maker. And I started making it just for fun. Mm-hmm. And I would just make it. And then the pandemic happened. So before the pandemic, I would go to work, then I did all my community stuff afterwards, and then that was my day. But then I didn't have that anymore. So I was making ice cream at home because I didn't have anything else to do. And I was like, I can't eat this. And then I started posting on Facebook. I was like, hey, I'm making butter pecan this week. If you want some, let me know.
Okay.
And I started meeting people at Whole Foods parking lot and had my little cooler and selling pints of ice cream.
You did.
And yes, you were one of those people. Yes, on Saturdays and Sundays, I would meet you at 2:00 in Whole Foods parking lot, and you tell me what flavors you wanted. By the end of that summer, I had like 8 flavors. And one weekend, I did like 100 pints of ice cream out of my house.
In
like,
one weekend?
One weekend. And I was like, this could be a thing. Like,
Wow.
people aren't just being nice. You know how you think your family and your friends are just being nice? And it's like, oh, you should sell this. And you like, oh, okay. But then that weekend, it really like a light bulb went off. And I went to ice cream school after that. So I learned all about flavoring and machines and textures and all of that. And then we found a building. We went through the renovation of the building, and 2 years after, that was 2020. 2 years after that, in 2022, is when we opened.
Now, for our new entrepreneurs, or for those of you that's thinking about starting something, I want to go back to what you said. You went to school to learn the craft, to learn more about it. Mind you had already been making ice cream, but you knew if you were going to perfect it, that you needed to go another level. And getting that education on what you didn't know is what helped you really. So what did you learn? Was it anything different that you weren't doing, or were you surprised about anything?
It was a lot different. You learn, so people think ice cream is just ice cream, but custard is an ice cream that has eggs in it. Like, our product doesn't have eggs in it. Soft serve uses a different machine. So like, going there, I learned the type of machine to buy, how long you run it, the texture you want. They're like 10 different forms of vanilla that can give your ice cream an undertaste in it. So one is floral. You may have heard of Mexican vanilla before, but all of that like goes into how your product tastes. So like, for instance, we have more than one vanilla that we use in different types of ice cream to get the taste where we would like it. But I would have never known that if I hadn't gone to school.
Because you were doing well. You were doing well just making ice cream the way you made it. So I want to commend you for saying there is something more out there I need to know to make my brand the best. And I'm going to take time, invest in myself, and learn more about that. I mean, I've heard of people that start cooking out of their house or baking cakes and cookies, and it's going well, so they just keep doing what they're doing, but they don't know what they don't know.
Exactly.
And so that's just phenomenal that you decided to let me first go to school and learn more about this.
Well, and I think a part of that came from, I'm one of those people, if I'm going to do it, I want to do it the right way, and I want to know all about it. During the pandemic, a local chef posted that his business would have ran better or been able to function better, but if he had known more about all the details of his business. And I was like, So my thought in building was like, I need to know how to make the ice cream. I need to know how to package it. I need to know, like, I don't have to be the expert at it all, but I need to understand it enough to successfully execute it. And there were things about it that I knew I didn't know. And so that was like, well, I got to find somebody who knows it. And I was Google found me some people, found a few places, and I looked at some reviews, and I was like, okay, we can do this. And like, there's a program at the University of Pennsylvania or Penn State that I want to get to one day. Like, they teach you the science, like everything. And I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll get there. Not yet, but I'll get there.
You're really passionate about this. I can tell. I mean, you light up when you talk about the ice cream.
It is something that I enjoy. And it's funny. I told my sister just last night, I was like, we were talking about setting goals and things like that. And she was talking about like finding what was next for her. And I was like, believe it or not, if you give yourself the space, God will show you what's next for you. I said, because I never ever talked about owning an ice cream parlor or being an ice cream manufacturer. I would would always say when I turned 40, I was gonna open a restaurant. And that was my thing. I was opening a restaurant and that's what I wanted to do. I said, never was I like, I'm gonna make ice cream. I wanna be a manufacturer. Like never crossed my mind. But when the pandemic happened and I was trying to figure out which way I wanted to shift and transition, right before that, I had to be still. And in being still, it came to me. Like, I feel like God showed me what was next for me. So it happens as me, you know, it just, it happens at the right time.
When the timing is ready for you and it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah.
It's just your time. Another thing that you talked about was getting your building. So how did you get support for that? Any grants, any funding? If someone's looking to get help with their business, as you did, because your building is up and running, you just celebrated 2 years, you're doing well. Where did the money come from?
So grants, a lot of grants, family funds, and some like bank loans, but majority of it. So I worked with a lot of programs here in the in Memphis, not the United, well, of course the United States, but in Memphis. And I was talking to one of my friends and at the time, and he said, you should do it. It's plenty of money out there. And I was like, okay, we'll see. So I worked with Edge, which was one of the first programs that I worked with.
Joanne Massey, right?
Yes, that's that program.
Yeah.
I worked with them, and the thing that I worked on before that makes it easier, that I felt made it easier for me, was that I had a plan. I could clearly state to somebody what I wanted to do, how I wanted it to work, and what I expected my outcome to be.
And about how much that's going to cost.
And how much it was going to cost.
Because you've done the research.
Yes. So that was a big part. So the first time I ever presented was at an Edge board meeting for their, what's the name of the fund? I can't think of the ICE fund.
Yes,
that's it, for the ICE loan, which is like a 3-year forgivable loan as long as you stay in business for 3 years. Yes, forgivable. So as long as you stay in business for 3 years, they forgive it, I think, at like 33% a year or something like that. But that was the first program. I knew what I wanted to use the money for, and I let them see the work being done. And I think that's a part of it. I even had someone to say to me, you know, this is a new idea, a new concept, like in the follow through we see. And I think because of that, it was easier to like get a grant or get a loan because people could see the work that was happening versus
the building
just an
is
idea.
already there.
The building was there.
You're trying to renovate the building at this point and needed funds to renovate.
Yes. So the building was already there. We had to totally gut it and renovate the inside and make it up to Tennessee agriculture standards. But the work needed to be done. And so because of that, Edge stepped in and they gave us, I want to say $15,000 to do some of the work in the building. And it was a big help. Like, it was a start, and it gave us like the money that we needed to be able to keep going at the time. Yeah.
Wow. So Edge was able to give you $15,000 forgivable over 3 years to help you with your renovation and get everything started. So now someone here listening may want to know, what does contracting look like? So can you give us just a little bit about, hey, I'm looking for a space. I want to start this business. How do I do it?
Let me tell you. Your timeline will never be your actual timeline. And you have to, for me, so with Tennessee Agriculture Department, they have a service where they can send someone down to look at the space that you would like to bring up to code. And then he made recommendations on what we needed to do.
Oh, good. So you have a specialist, an expert in it that was like, hey, this is what we need. So that was a good guide.
Right. So he came in, he told us what we needed to do, and then we stepped back and said, okay, this is what we know we have to do. So from there, we probably went through 4 or 5 contractors before we found somebody because it wasn't a large job. It was in comparison to other things, because that's 2021, and contracting and building and everything was hot because all the money was out there. So people weren't necessarily taking our contract because it wasn't large enough. So then we had to figure out how we could break it down or get it done without having to have a big contracting company to come in. So we had to do research and find and take bids and things like that to get the project done. So that took a while. My plan was a year. and we opened almost a year and a half later, maybe 2 years after what I wanted to open. But we got it down, and you learn about all things. You learn about walls. I never, like the type of wall you have to have in there, or the beam that has to go across the ceiling, or where the fire extinguisher, like it is so much that you have to learn in the process. And you hadn't even started a business.
You hadn't even started the business yet. That's the thing. You haven't even started the business yet. So you're not making money. You're spending time trying to prepare. So when you start making money, you know you're running efficiently.
And you're spending money and not receiving, you know, not taking in money. Now, I will say in that time, I did work with Epicenter, and I got a grant from Epicenter too, from their Friends and Family program that also helped with it, because there are also certain guidelines that the city has to have, that you have to have according to the city. So like we had to put in we had to change, like we had to present a variance to change the way we entered the parking lot, or we had to put out a streetscape box on the street, and we had to put a dumpster pad in the back. So you had to spend the money on those things too that you don't find out until
it's time.
Through the program, and like, I'm ready to open my door, and they like, no, you need this too. You like, well, and I promise you, every time I look at that streetscape box, I'd be like, that's just $5,000 just sitting there. That
like,
people,
what is this for?
That people come and sit on outside the building randomly. So, you know, it's a process. It is a process.
It sounds like, and I'm so glad to have you here, Kiamesha, because this podcast show is real talk for true entrepreneurs. And just listening to your story, being a true entrepreneur, it takes perseverance, it takes consistency, it takes patience. For believers, it takes prayer. You've got to have hope. You got to have a drive and want to do it. Yeah. So tell us, when you've got to hold on and you know this is the thing for you, what helps you to do that?
I reset. So I was talking to my therapist about this.
So you have a therapist.
I have a therapist. That helps. Yes.
That helps.
But
my name is Alicia Hill, and I have a therapist.
I didn't know the power of having someone that wasn't in your family or wasn't a friend to just like talk it out with.
Yeah. Yeah, they can give you unbiased, professional thoughts to help you see things from a different perspective.
So, but I was telling her, I'm a person that will drive until I hit burnout. So I'm working on it though. But with that, I try to rest on Sunday. Like I try not, like Sundays is literally my day of rest. Like I go to church or I listen to it online, or I spend some time with my family, or I stay at home and do nothing. And like I may say to myself, like after 7 o'clock, okay, you can get on your laptop or something. But I really try to give myself a reset. I was listening to a podcast, and my friend actually said this to me once, that you can't be creative or innovative if you're always going. Yes. Like, so
you don't get to hear either.
Yeah, you don't get to hear either. You don't get the vision. You know, it just doesn't. So I started learning to use Sundays for that. I try to stick to a schedule to help myself not be so stressed out when things are out of order. Sometimes it can just drive my week off. So to deal with that, and then I stay in prayer. I stay listening to a word. I have wonderful friends, and they are encouraging. I had a friend. I had a moment like 2-3 weeks ago, and I was just telling her, and I was like, this. She was like, what are you talking about? You do this and you need to go do that and you're gonna be fine. It's just a moment. And like she snapped me back into my place real quick.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, okay, thanks for the reset.
You felt yourself about to go there and just melt down.
Yeah, no, I had a meltdown.
You had a meltdown.
Because I tell you, entrepreneurship is not for the weak. Sometimes it feels like a setup, I promise.
Sometimes it feels like a setup and you wanna just cry.
Yes.
Like, I'm having a day today and I wanna just cry. I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. But when you have that passion and a strong desire to do something, it just keeps pulling you until you do it. And the strength comes from somewhere. It's like you can look back at your building and say, look what I went through. What if I had given up? What if I gave up in 2021? What if I gave up when the inspector came and said, you didn't meet this code, or you need this variance, or this beam has got to go right here, and you say, you know what, this is too much. This is too much.
And I'm not saying I didn't think that.
Right. But somehow,
I kept going, yes.
like, what would Will Smith say? Deep down. I knew that.
Yes. Ooh, it took some deep down.
Woo,
But yeah.
I'm about to tear up. But you can't even explain it.
No,
It's
you
like,
can't.
oh my gosh.
And you know, the interesting thing is people ask you, they say, how do you do it? And some days you got a word to tell them how you do it. And some days you just be like, I don't know. Like, I literally
think I'm
don't know.
I can't even
Like,
tell
I
you.
don't know how I do it. And I be like, by the grace of God. Like, because some days I was like, I don't know how I did everything I do, because I feel like the first year I kind of let my health get away from me. So like this year I'm really like focused on trying to get back and have, so I'm not a morning person, but I was like, if you got to do it, you got to do it. So now I get up at 6:30 in the morning.
That's it, doing what you got to do.
5:50 and be at the trainer at 6:30 in the morning. But it's because I felt like that was something that was missing that I used to enjoy doing. So I'm like, okay, you just got to do it. And that's the other thing. Sometimes you just got to do it.
There's nothing else to do. You just got to
Yeah.
do it. Because I have found that in the 5 core areas of my life, something is always down here, and I'm trying to bring it back up here. Then this will go down here, and I'm like, there is no real balance.
No.
And you are a full-time employee, a full-time entrepreneur, a full-time church member. You're on all these boards. You're active in the community. I mean, you have a lot on your plate, and yet you're standing tall and strong.
Thank you.
It looks good on you.
Thank you.
You are doing a phenomenal job.
Thank
you are
you
doing
so
a phenomenal
much.
job. We're just trying to figure out the secret. Like, what is it? What is it? Is it
I
the
don't know.
assistant?
I will say my family helps me a lot. So my parents are really helpful. They help a lot in the business. And my dad was an entrepreneur for years, and my mom, is an entrepreneur still. And my mom was a teacher for years.
Okay.
So for 40 years, something like that.
Oh, wow.
But so it's like bits and pieces that they bring. Like I could tell my mom, I want a flavor. She was a home ec teacher. So I could be like, I want a flavor that tastes just like a carrot cake. So we'll get in the kitchen and we'll figure out, okay, we want it to taste like some maple and it's got a little carrot flavor, and we bring a carrot cake to life in the ice cream. But that's her thing. Like she knows how to do that. My dad is all operations and logistics. He could tell you how to get ice cream from point A to point B, where you gonna stop, what temperature it's gonna be when you get there. Like that is him. Like he runs it well.
So if you're running a business, you need experts around
Yes,
you. You have to
yes.
have people that have strengths where you have weaknesses. And you
Yes.
have to let go of your pride and say, I need some help.
And that's a hard thing. I will
It
say,
is.
my
It
sister
is.
tells me all the time, you got to figure out how to delegate. You got to figure out who can help you do some of these things.
Because nobody can do it better than you. Nobody
But
can do it better
people
than you.
can do it better than you.
Right, but
And
we have
that's
to
the
tell
reality
ourselves
of
that
it,
and be
yes.
okay with it and know that they're going to get
And
it
I
done.
don't even think it's that I think nobody can do it better than me. It's that I feel like nobody can do it faster than me. And I say that
Oh.
because it's easier for me to send out an email, look up some information, put a document together, versus me to tell somebody what I need, how I want it done, where I could just do it. That's my struggle.
Because you have to have that priority list,
yeah.
like what's most important. Sometimes it's not that you can't do it or you can't do it well. It's you've got 10, and what 2 can I give to somebody else?
That's what I'm learning. Like that's a big part of what I'm learning, because she tells me all the time, you got to learn how to help people, let people help you. And it's not that I don't want people to help me or I don't feel like they can do it. I just feel like it's easier for me to be able to just get it done myself.
So by the time I call you and have to call you back,
Remember
and
to
then
email you.
explain it, then follow up to see if you do it, I could have done it.
Tell you to move this letter a little bit to the left, put a bigger space right here, be like, just give me the mouse. But that is not the best way to be.
So you've been in business for 2 years.
Yes.
What's next for you? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now. So I would love for us to be a regional brand 5 years from now. So having Kaye's in stores all across the South and the Southeast.
Where do you have stores now?
So now we are mainly in Memphis. So we're in 13 stores in Memphis. Cordelia's Market, a South Point Grocer, High Point Grocer, Muddy's Bake Shop.
Wow.
Super Long Spotswood, Curbside Casserole. We're Central Barbecue in South Haven. And we just got a new store in West Memphis. So Mitchell's Breakfast Burritos, we're over in West Memphis. We're on their stock list. And then we just added Daily Market last week. So
wait, in 2 years, you've done all that.
Yes.
Gutted the building, made some ice cream. Have 13 flavors?
Oh, we have like 25 flavors.
25 flavors. And you're in all these locations. So you're marketing, you're the innovator, you're the operations manager.
The cleaning lady.
The cleaning lady. Oh, Jesus. She the cleaning lady, y'all.
And I hate mopping floors, and that is the one thing I have to do on a weekly basis.
So now it is time. Let me give you some advice. Learn how to recruit, hire, train, measure performance, reward their success, continue to grow. That's where we've got to get you. We've got to recruit. We've got to recruit.
Yeah.
Because you've done all this. As they say, one Memphis, one man, one band, one sound.
Well, and like I said, my family's a big part.
Right. But I mean, the marketing, the getting it out there, the branding, the pitch competitions you've done, the grants.
Yeah.
Wow, you are amazing.
Yeah.
You are amazing.
Thank you. And next is to hire some staff. That was what I was going to say after that. I was like, I need to hire some people. Some good people in operations and sales and things like that. So
Yes. You are doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
If I hadn't had, I would take it off to you.
Thank you. I saw you do it first. I'm telling you, I will never forget the day we were in Detroit and you were like, I want to be a professor at CBU, and I'm going to start my own brand and all this. And I was like, okay, Alicia, you're going to do all that in the next year? Because you were like, this is what I'm doing next year. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, well, she thinks she can do it. She can do it. And lo and behold, like 6 months later, you were like a professor at CBU. You had left your other job, and you were like a full-time entrepreneur. And I was like, oh, she did this. So hats off to you for continuing to like grow and model the way and show people that it can be done. And I admire about you that you do it all standing in faith. Like, I have never seen anybody, and when I say I have never seen anybody that be like, my God got me, I ain't worried. And she's like, gone down the road. And I'd be like, okay, girl, yeah, look, we got you.
I literally have no other choice. I have no other. It's like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
He will put you in a position where all you can do is just trust him.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's that burning desire that you like.
I got to do.
They say won't let you sleep. And I have taken all the experience and knowledge that I've had, and I'm hungry to give it to somebody.
Yeah.
Hence the podcast show with Philip Townsend, PJ Townsend Films. I'm at Lane College now. I'm at Clinton College now. I'm at CBU, and I'm still running ACG. And I'm doing it in a way that I'm sharing the same thing. It's like I realize this is my gift. This is what I'm supposed to give the world. So I'm not doing 5 or 6 different things. I'm doing the same thing to different audiences. And that's what I feel like you're doing. You're creating love through ice cream to different audiences. So yes, I am so glad to have had you on. Anything you want to share that I maybe didn't ask?
No, go get some ice cream.
So how can we get ice cream? How can we get ice cream?
You can get ice cream at any of the stores I listed earlier. We are available. Our creamery is at 2089 Winchester. We are open every Saturday from 12 to 6, except for August the 17th. We are taking a family vacation.
And you need it.
We need a break. So you can find us at the creamery on Saturdays from 12 to 6. South Haven, we're in Central Barbecue. West Memphis, we're in Mitchell's Breakfast Burrito. We're in 10 other stores in the city. You can order online. You can have it delivered to your doorstep once a month.
Wow.
So join our subscription program and follow us on all social media. Well, let me not say all, but Facebook and Instagram. I haven't got to TikTok yet. But join us on there and just support us. And support local. Yes. I say that
local.
because a big part of our business is that we support local brands. So 40% of our ingredients of parts of our product come from local businesses here in the city.
Wonderful.
So yes, but buy the pink paint anytime you see it. And we
Kaye's Paints and Scoops.
Yes. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for having us. please make sure that you get some ice cream summer, winter, spring, and fall. You can get ice cream all 4 seasons. Kaye's Paints and Scoops. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We hope you've learned something today. Share your thoughts. Make sure that you subscribe on our YouTube page, and we will see you for our next episode. Thank you.